Yo, we just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the four ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your host, your boy George McKay, back here again on Straight Talk Wrestling. As always, thank you so much for joining me, wherever you are, joining me on audio platforms, YouTube, anywhere that you can find me. I'm honored to have you here. And as well, I'm honored to have this young lady on the show. She's an absolute legend in the game, somebody who's been around for the better part of, I want to say, 15 to 20 years. So, I mean, my research may not be 100% correct, but without a doubt, this one I'm excited for. Help me welcome to Straight Talk Wrestling for the first time, Tracey Taylor. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You know, it's interesting. When I was doing my research, I always try to prepare myself for any conversation that I'm going to have, and that's what we do here on Straight Talk is we have these conversations. When I was preparing for this, going down the research rabbit hole, I mean, it's pretty cool. Like you were given a WWE development deal very early on in your career. You're trained by Bill DeMott, which we definitely got to get into that because I've heard Bill DeMott is one tough dude. And I remember even from those early episodes of Tough Enough, like that guy, no F's given. Like he will push you to your limit. But when you started in pro wrestling and you got that WWE developmental deal so early on, what was that like for you? That early experience?
You know what? It was just, I can't even say it was a dream come true because it was never a dream of mine to be a wrestler. It was just stepping outside of myself. I was like, holy crap, like, is this really happening? Like, I actually have a WWE contract because I knew a lot about WWF and WWE, and I didn't know a whole lot about the other promotions, but it was one of my, when I was married at the time, it was my husband's dream to be a WWE professional wrestler. And so he set off on a quest, and we picked up our kids and our clothes and we moved to Louisville, Kentucky from Hawaii. And when I was offered my contract, I was in disbelief. I just could not just even take it all in, like I have a WWE contract. And so I just took that and ran with it. And I just had so much fun and just took it for what it was worth. Like, oh my gosh, I cherished every single minute of it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I guess for anybody who doesn't know, the WWE developmental deal at the time was NXT, but it wasn't NXT because they had different territories. So they had Deep South Wrestling, they had Ohio Valley Wrestling, which is now helmed by Al Snow. And we all saw that on the Great Wrestlers documentary. But to go through the developmental system, what it was then, and then seeing what it is now and how much of it really has become its own entity. I mean, when you were in the developmental process, was it like it is now?
Absolutely not. No, we were coming straight out of OVW, where they were the only developmental territory. So they had just opened up Deep South, and they sent the first ever signed Deep South, contracts to McDonough, Georgia. And I can't really tell you the exact number. Maybe it was 20. And Angel Williams was the only female that was signed down to come down. And when they came down, the arena hadn't even been finished. So they had to train at a Gold's Gym locally and just do cardio. And I mean, Bill just pushed them to the limit. And my dumb butt went and did it, just for fun. And I couldn't walk for the next 3 days. But yeah, it was really tough training. It was.
I believe that. And you know, when you say your husband at the time, he was chasing his dreams, so you just picked up everything, you moved, you took a shot. And I mean, of all places to go from Hawaii, picturesque, beautiful, very chill landscape, very chill vibe, to Kentucky. I mean, that's a juxtaposition. That's gotta be a culture shock for
It
everybody in the family. So like, what was
absolutely.
that experience like?
Oh my gosh. So, culture shock, yes. We made a stop in North Carolina to go see my dad. And it was funny because my son, he was so anxious to go to the beach. He was like, "Oh, I just want to go to the beach," and I'm like, "Okay, okay, we're going to go to the beach." So I took him to the beach and they were so excited to go. And I remember them getting out of the car and running up to the water. And then they just stopped in their tracks and they were like, "Mom, what's wrong with the water?" They were just so in shock that it wasn't blue and just that pretty blue color. And I was like, okay, well, let me tell you about beaches around the world. They're not all the same. But yeah, that was a culture shock for my kids. But then going to Louisville, Kentucky, it was snowing at the time. And I am not a girl that likes the snow. I mean, I appreciate it when it happens. It's pretty, but if I've got to like live in it, that is just a miserable time for me because I'm not a cold person.
I was
I
gonna
like to
say,
be, yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, you're there. I mean, right now we're in that in Canada here, we're in that kind of lull period. So the snow has kind of happened. It's slowly drifting away, but Mother Nature still tends to kick our butts every now and again with that one day of, don't forget, guys, it's only gonna be 6 months away. I'm coming right back. But you are coming here, and
Yes,
you are gonna be on a tour here. But at least when you're coming here, you're gonna be able to experience Canada in the summer, which is phenomenal. Canada in warm weather, spring, summer is so picturesque, and it's picturesque for many different reasons, but landscape wise, I would say we are unmatched compared to some of the picturesque landscapes in the world. We're definitely top 10 when it comes to landscapes. That's for sure. I will say that.
I definitely heard that. And I had just come back from there. I went there in January for my first tour and
Ooh.
it was freezing. Oh my gosh, it was so cold. And we did, a bunch of sightseeing and just waiting for I so we did that Niagara Falls tour thing where you have to wait for the bus to come get you and then take you to the next attraction. Oh my gosh, just waiting outside for that bus, I was like, this is really like, oh my God, is there an inside we can wait at? But yeah, it was freezing. But it was so pretty too. It was really pretty. And again, I didn't mind the cold because I was visiting and I was trying to take it all in. So really, I just kind of ignored the cold and just tried to, take all that beauty in because it was so pretty. My God, Niagara Falls. Are you kidding me? That was the first time I ever got to see it up close and that close. And I have no words. It was just amazing.
I always love hearing that. I always love hearing everyone's different interpretations of seeing stuff that I've seen my whole life. Like Niagara Falls was a every summer kind of weekend trip for the family. That's just what you did when you're a Canadian kid. Okay, kids, let's pack up. We're gonna go to Niagara Falls for a weekend, stay in a fancy hotel in Lundy's Lane, playing the games, going to all the wax museums. Like that's just an everyday thing for a kid in the summer. And then when you hear somebody else who's never seen the falls, it is really a wonder of the world. It is very picturesque. Whether it's winter or summer, it is a sight to behold, 100%. Now, I do want to talk to you about, well, we got to talk about Bill. We have to talk about Bill.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Bill as a pro wrestler, but I'm also a big fan of Bill from what I've seen. I've never experienced it myself, but from what I've seen on the Tough Enoughs and how he was, he pushes you, but he pushes you in a stern, like dad way, but he pushes you only to know that he can get more out of you. And if I've seen it in Tough Enough, if he stops trying to get more out of you, you're done. So when he kind of wipes his hands or wipes the slate clean with you, like, okay, bye-bye. But if he's still on you and he's still pushing you and he's still saying, no, no, I know you can give me 20 more. I know you can give me 50 more. I know you can give me 100 more. When you have somebody like that who is like this big, gruff, intimidating personality, but he's only trying to make you succeed in the best way possible, is that motivation for you, or was that motivation for you at the time to be like, I want to succeed not just for me, but for my coach as well?
Absolutely. Everything you just said right there is absolutely true about Bill. He pushed me to limits that I didn't even know my body was capable of. And like I said, I knew nothing about professional wrestling. I knew nothing about how to do the moves or, like what it entailed. So when I got in there, I mean, I was in the ring with guys like Luke Gallows, Sonny Siaki. I was in there with Ray Gordy and just some of, the greats. And having to go in there and get power slammed by some of these guys and like thrown around and then there was stuff that we had to do like from the top rope and jumping in the ring doing flips and just stuff like that. My eyes, like when they explained that we were going to do this, I was like, yeah, right, like, okay. But when you're in it at the moment, you don't even think. You're just going, and you're just like, okay, here I go, and you just do it. And I think that's what that means by, pushing you to your limit. You're just going to do it. You're not going to complain. You're not going to think about it. You're not going to second guess yourself. And I think that's what he did for you. He really made you believe in yourself. And if you doubted yourself 1 minute, he was going to make you believe, that you could do it. And he definitely did. He took my mind to another level where like, okay, maybe I can do this, like let me just stop thinking or doubting and just do it.
It's interesting to me too when I hear so many stories about people who are like, pro wrestling was not my thing. I kind of fell into it, or it just kind of came to me out of nowhere. And I hear you coming in being like, yeah, it was my husband's dream. Then I get this developmental deal, and it's wild. And you don't understand the psychology of the story that's being told in the ring, especially. And I'm not saying disrespect to no one, but when you're in pro wrestling and you're not a fan or you've never experienced it before, and all of a sudden to come in and be like, okay, so listen, we got to dissect everything, we got to break a match down, we got to tell a story without words, because the words are going to be the two or three people at the commentary table, they're going to narrate the story for you. But you have to give this whole range of emotion. You have to give a range of emotion without saying anything. It's mostly with just you're making these faces, and it's incredible that some of the best stories in the world we've ever experienced have been when there is no words to be heard. So when you got that kind of concept in your mind of, okay, this is what we're going to be doing, how hard was it for you to let go and be like, I'm just going to trust the process, but I also don't know what the process is.
Absolutely. So when I put it together, so in Hawaii, when you're doing the hula and you're doing those type of dances, it's the same exact thing. You're doing a dance and you're telling a story through dance and with no words at all. So when I kind of put that together and I was like, okay, this is kind of like that, but we're like action, action packed, then it kind of clicked for me. And so I was like, okay, so I had always been a baby face throughout my career. Most of my career, I've been a baby face. So picking up how to, engage the crowd and get them behind you and like get them to, give you sympathy and make them want to be in your corner. That was a challenge because you really have to know how to just give them the hook, and pull them in. And so that's an art in itself. And by watching tape, by watching other women that have come before me, um, I feel like it took a lot of work for me to get to where I am today. And without the trainers that I had in my life, I don't think I could have come this far. So I'm really appreciative and like just that stuff that you learn throughout your career is going to take you to the next level. Like you just have to know and you just got to keep going.
I love that. I love that. It's a positive statement, but knowing that you're never sure where the journey is going to end. And when the WWE developmental deal ended and you were on your own, did you think that wrestling was going to continue as long as it's been? Like as I mentioned in my intro, you've been in this business for the better part of 20 years. Did you think that that was going to happen? Did you think that pro wrestling, your love for pro wrestling, was going to stick around that long?
So I learned at the time that they had cuts every year at a certain time, right? So we were kind of like everybody was on the fence. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, is it going to be me? Is it going to be me?" And so I remember when the cuts were coming around, and everybody was just kind of like on pins and needles, waiting for the phone call. And when the phone call came, we were really depressed. I mean, we were just so down because we had almost made it to television three times. We were on our way to Raw, then we are going to go to SmackDown, then we are going to debut on ECW, and it just little things just kind of changed our path. And when we got released, we were just like, oh, you're almost there, And for me, never expecting to even have a contract, I was like, okay, well, what's next? What are we doing? And then the other guys were just like, my life is over, you know. And I was there mainly to, I was trying to help my husband get through his difficult time because it was really devastating for my husband. And I was just telling him, I'm like, look, we're not done. Like, let's just keep going. Like, what do we have to do? What's next? Because everybody would tell us, like, go to Japan, go to Europe, do this, just keep going, make a name for yourself outside of here, and then come back. So I was like, okay, well, let's just do that. Like, what do we got to do?
It's we're just gonna hop on a plane, guys. It's easy.
Yeah, it's that easy. Let's just do it. But it was really a difficult time. But then we were fortunate enough to get called by the producer out in California who was doing motion capture. And we started doing motion capture every single month. We were the regulars. We did it for 10 years straight. And I did a lot of the women that are on television today. I did all their move sets and I did all their entrances. So that to me, when I got that call, I was like, this is even better, you know, like, it just keeps getting better.
I love that. And to people who don't know,
Yeah.
like motion capture is where you're in the black skin tight outfits and you've got all the little orbs all over you, right? To kind of capture every literal motion or movement of your body. So you were doing a lot of the early on games. You were the ultimate female pro wrestler because you were doing everybody.
Yes, yes. And a lot
Wow.
of the moves that I learned were at motion capture.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the things that I was scared to death to even take or do like in a normal match, I had to do them at motion capture, you know, and I was like, oh my God, you want me to do a moonsault? What? You know, and then I remember doing certain moves like a missile drop kick, you know, and after I gave that move, I think I gave it to Serena. And after I gave her that move, we were both laying there just like looking at the ceiling going, "Oh my God, why would you even want to do this move?" You know?
Why would you want to kick someone in the face like a missile? What's wrong with people?
Well, even just that bump, because you're not landing in the middle of the ring, it's just the hardest part of the ring. So when you're taking that bump, it's just like, oh God, you know, it really gets you.
I love that's a great story. But I want to talk about you. I want to talk about the success you've recently just had because I had to scroll through my notes here because I forgot the name of the organization. But correct me if I'm wrong. You are the new Extreme Impact Wrestling Women's Champion.
I am,
You
yes,
won
yes,
that literally, I believe, a couple weeks ago. Am I not
yes,
mistaken?
yes, I did.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Well,
Thank
congratulations.
you. Thank
So,
you.
I mean, here you are, 20 years, motion capture for 10 years, early on developmental deal, still going strong, still kicking ass. And not only that, but you are a WoW superhero,
I
which
am.
is, I have spoken to some of the members of this roster from Ray Lynn to Aurora Tevez. Holodead and I've never had her on the show, but we have spoken at events. And WoW is a company that I'm a girl dad. And my 16-year-old, she used to do this with me. She used to do the mini host, but now she's moved on. High school and friends is way cooler than, talking pro wrestling. And I understand that. But she was she's still from time to time will watch it. And my youngest daughter, she's fully invested in it right now. And she loves John Cena, even though John Cena's a bad guy right now. She loves him.
Right,
She loves him. We were there
right.
at Elimination Chamber. She didn't have a reaction. She's like, nope, if he's going bad, I'm going bad. It's all good. It is what it is. But we've also watched WoW from time to time, and she loves the fact that, I mean, she asks me all the time, she goes, Dad, there's no guys in this. I go, no, buddy. This is all women, man. This is all powerful, strong, amazing female athletes. And for her, when her eyes light up when she finds out it's just all girls, like it's almost like Christmas because she'll sit there and she'll be like, wow, like they really are superheroes. So when you hear yourself referred to, I want to talk about your championship win, but I have to ask about WoW right now. When you hear yourself referred to as a superhero and know that there are little girls out there that are looking up to all of you, and a lot of people will be like, oh, WoW is whatever. WoW is one of the consistent companies that actually has had a TV deal just as long as most of the big companies. People forget. Like Impact didn't have a TV deal for the longest time. Now they do again. AEW just got their TV deal, but WoW has kind of always been consistent on cable TV for a very long time. And the production has gone up, the stories have gone up, and the athletes are really amazing. So when you
Mhm.
hear about like a 9-year-old girl who's seeing an entire roster of females, what does that speak to you?
That is everything to me. You know, I have a daughter myself who is in the business, and when she was growing up, and you know, I had two kids throughout my career, and they were very young, and when they were coming up, I was always careful to not embarrass them. So with my outfits, with you know things that I post on social media, I've always got the approval of my son. When I had you know a wrestling outfit, I was like, okay, is this too much? You know, is this going to embarrass you? Like, and he would be like, no, it's okay. And coming from Hawaii, we don't wear very much anyway. You know, coming from there, so my outfits that I wear in the wrestling ring cover more of me than you know at home when I'm in you know at the beach hanging out, and that's most of the time. So he would always just be like, "No, it's good, mom. You know, it's okay," and then we'd go about our business. But I was always careful for that, and I always wanted to be that role model for little girls. I always wanted to have them look up to me and know that they could, you know, anything was possible. Like, I just want girls to know that anything is possible. If you put your mind to it, you work hard enough, you can do it, you know, and not just pro wrestling, it's anything. So that's just the kind of message that I want to put out there for every girl.
Absolutely. And you know what? I have to ask about your heritage as well. Like coming from Hawaii, I mean, everybody knows about the Samoan bloodline, the legacy, the Samoans, no joke, man. They're just naturally, anybody that comes out of Hawaii seems to just gravitate to wrestling with so much ease, confidence, and success. Whether it's on the big stage or on the smaller stages, a lot of Hawaiian and Polynesian representation. So when you get to represent your homeland in such a special way, like whether it's the Island Girl or it's, Tracey Taylor, doesn't matter. When you get, like, even right now, you're repping the flower in the hair, which is so symbolic of where you're from. When you get to represent that Polynesian heritage, not so much the Samoan side of it, but just Polynesian in general, how special is that to consistently be a representation as a woman, a powerful woman of Hawaii?
I I am just so honored and blessed to be able to do that. And a lot of times I get the approval of my friends in Hawaii too, stuff that I'm going to put out there because I don't want to misrepresent. I don't want to offend, and I don't want to make it a joke. So I always, run it by my friends. I'm like, is this too much? Hey, what about this? But then a lot of times I have to represent in a way where people can actually, what's the word? They can relate,
Mm,
because a lot of stuff people can't relate to it. And so I have to make it, I guess, touristy. So they can, like the grass skirt. And, we don't walk around in Hawaii in grass skirts. That's just not what we do. That's more of the Tahitian dancing style, but that's what everybody can relate Hawaii to. So that's why, a lot of my friends that are in Hawaii, they're just like, girl, you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, and then I have to explain it to them because it it's it's all about what people can relate Hawaii to. And looking at you, and just like you said, the flower is very symbolic of the islands. And so I try to keep it very respectful and try to represent as best I can.
absolutely. And I think you do that. Like I've watched some of your matches, I've watched some of your early stuff. I actually went back down the archives, found a couple early Deep South matches, which is pretty cool. I was like, look at this. This is the internet is a great thing. Sometimes the internet is poisonous. But
Yes.
sometimes the internet is a great thing. When you go, I'm not gonna lie, Tracy, I will let you know that I have gone down the YouTube rabbit hole many a time. I've started searching one thing, next thing you know, I'm searching everything. I've gone from car videos to classic. I'm a big fan of 90s TV commercials. Okay, to go back to the 90s TV commercials and see how horrible they are, it's incredible. Like nothing compares to 90s TV commercials. Okay,
Right.
they are gold, gold. So I've lost hours of my life going down these rabbit holes. But when you're doing the research for somebody like you who's had such a vast career, like, and the great thing is that I don't have to segue. You've been down this road before. You got the media stuff down. Like you segued into motion caption. I'm like, oh, she went there. I didn't even have to build to it. I love it. Conversations like this are so much fun. But now let's talk about your recent win. You are a women's champion again. You're repping, again, Extreme Impact Wrestling.
Yes.
And when you come here, I believe for your next tour, your spring summer tour, you will be bringing that title, I'm hoping, with you here to the Great White
Yes.
North.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And we will be putting it on the line, of course.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. I heard I'm going to be facing Hammerlock's women's champion, I
Okay.
believe. So I don't know. I don't know if we're putting both titles on the line or not. So we'll have to see.
That's amazing. And when is that happening? When are you coming down for Hammerlock?
I am coming down. Let's see. I'm going to be on your side April 30th. I come in, and then I think the show is the first, second, third. I think it's on the third.
All
That
right. So
week. Yeah.
nice. You'll be experiencing Ontario in May, which is a solid month to be in. By then, Mother Nature's little one more screw you, Canada, will have long gone. So you'll be good. You'll be good. And we're just coming off, obviously, that's a couple weeks after WrestleMania, which is the biggest, spectacle of our fandom of wrestling. Do you have any bookings in Vegas? Will you be in Vegas taking in WrestleMania weekend?
No, not at all. And I was hoping, because everybody was asking me, and I was like, I had no idea that, everybody was going to be there. And so I was like, no, I really wanted to be there, but unfortunately, no, I'm not gonna. I don't have any plans as of right now. But I am that type of person that if you call me and want me to be there, I can show up. but
Well,
we'll see.
who doesn't want a WoW superhero there, or who doesn't want to,
Oh,
OVW is going to be over there. Maybe OVW wants to bring back some legacies. Why not, right? I
right,
mean, there's
right.
such a storied history with OVW, and even with again, Deep South, even though it was started shortly after OVW was like that crown jewel of everything. And then you had Florida, obviously, and all the different other, and then eventually everything shifted over to NXT, which is what we have today. But I mean, when you look at when you see that OVW is really the only one standing, and knowing that you were one of the early pillars or catalysts of that facility, that's got to be something special to all you WWE developmental deals from early on, right? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, to know that OVW is still standing, how cool is that for you?
it was so cool. So I was trying to put my name back out there, and I went back to OVW right before they did renovations, and right after they came off of their Netflix series. So I was right behind it, and just to go back into the arena and be welcomed in by Al Snow and everybody there, it was such a an honor. It was such a great feeling to be able to get back into the OVW ring. And the fans, some of the fans even remembered me from the first time I was there. They were just like, I remember you and Micah, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing because that's so long ago. But yeah, it was just it was great. I enjoyed every second of it. And then so that's when I actually changed my name over to TT. And so everybody was like, "Oh, you're going to go by TT now." And I was like, "Yeah, that's going to be the new name." And so it picked up so quick. And so I think if you see me in the north, or in the I don't even know what it's called. Is it Midwest? No, it's not Midwest. It's the north.
Yeah.
Oh, up there, Kentucky, Ohio. Yeah. They know me as TT. You go down south, I'm Tracey Taylor. Like they're like, TT, what? So it's Tracey Taylor in the south, TT in the north, and then, up to Canada. So it's all those names. And then, you go
We're
to
getting out
California.
there
Yeah, you go to
worldwide.
California, I'm Kalaki.
So, what is in the Polynesian representation, Kalaki? I know that everything kind of has a name. What is the I guess the English translation of Kalaki? What does that represent?
So it is Tracy.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah, it stands for Tracy, and we looked that up way when I was in high school, and my parents wanted to get me something that had my Hawaiian name on it, and they got me a piece of jewelry, and that's what is on my jewelry. And so when I went to WoW, they were asking me, they were trying to come up with what I was going to go by, and I said, I can still be me, and then, that name came about. So
I love that. I love that. And you mentioned that your daughter is now in the business. So how cool is that to
she
have,
is.
like, we're talking second generation, right? The
Yes,
legacy. What's it
yes.
like having the legacy in the business now and watching her experience those things you may have experienced early on in your career?
I am so excited for her, and I am so protective of her.
Mhm.
And when she first decided that she wanted to be a pro wrestler, I was like, are you sure? Because she was very quiet, very introverted. She is amazing at FX makeup. She does a lot of FX makeup, and it's just that's what I thought that she wanted to do. And then one day she came up to me and she was like, I think I want to wrestle." And I was like, "What?" And this was around the time that I was thinking about retiring and just kind of, focusing on my gym and focusing on my business. And she was like, "Yeah, I really think I want to give it a try." And my husband was like, no, absolutely not. You know, I
I
was
could see
like,
that. No,
um,
no, no, no. Do you
yeah,
understand how many surgeries I have? No, no, no.
right. And she was only 15, 16 at the time. So she was like, no, and then what really got us, she said, okay, well, I'm going to do it with or without you. So that's it. And so then I was like, well, looks like I'm not stopping anytime soon. So that's what kind of motivated me to stay in the ring. And so we started training at the Good Brothers Dojo with her, Luke Gallows School. And then it was, that's where her career started.
Awesome. Amazing. And you know what though, but that's a testament to you two as parents, right? Because she may be quiet, she may be introverted, but when she has something to say, you listened. And she
Yeah.
told you flat out, You guys don't want me to wrestle? Cool. I'm going to wrestle anyways. I could be doing other things. I could be going crazy. But I'm telling you, I want to wrestle. So, mom, dad, you don't want to give me permission? No problem. When I'm 16, I don't need your permission anymore. I can step in a ring. I can start training. And then you're like,
Right.
okay, well, shit.
Yeah,
Now I got you.
exactly.
But you know what? It's also kind of maybe it was a blessing in disguise for you because I feel like in this second stage of your career, like to go from hanging up the boots to being like, well, maybe I'm not going to stop anymore. But now you get to share these experiences. And you know what? It's a great testament of storytelling because when you are ready to say goodbye to pro wrestling, who better than your daughter to have that final farewell match with? And
Yes.
that's a story that is amazing. That's a story like to quote Beauty and the Beast, a tale as old as time. Mom and daughter squaring off in the circle. Daughter
Yeah.
pins mom, and then mom rides off in the sunset. You can't write stuff like that. It's magic.
And every time I do get to work with my daughter, it's just the happiest time for me. And she 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 is very careful to not hit me too hard, and I'm like, "No, let's go." Yeah. And she will. She'll pin me and just be like, "Oh my gosh, mom, are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine, keep going." But we have so much fun, and she is amazing. She really is. I let her do her thing because she's had a lot of great training, I feel, and I just let her go. And I'm like, "You're the heel. I'm not going to say anything. You go for it." Like whatever you want to do, you let me know. And then we, sort out the finish and we just go for it. But I'm excited that she's going to get to go to Canada and I get to go with her for the very first time. And she's jumping on board right now and going to a lot of other promotions with me. So you're going to see that she's going to be showing up with me to a lot of promotions that I'm working at. So she just wants to get out there, get her name out there, and yeah, I just want to open some doors for her and help her as much as I can before I do hang him up.
I like that. I love that. I actually love. I love that. I love that the journey is so special. It's almost like I'm gonna go to these places. I'm gonna take you with me. We're gonna open those doors, and then when you want to go back, the door is already gonna be open, and it's gonna be that much easier. And what's the vibe? What's the character? What does your daughter represent? Is she also represent the Polynesian descent, or we got a little bit different? We got a little different feel from her.
She represents the islands as well. She goes by Tsunami, and she is a more scarier character. So, if you go to Hawaii and you listen to all the haunted stories or the darker tales, she represents that side of the island. So, like the night marchers and just the ghosts that hang out, in the mountains. But that's her character. That's who she likes to portray, and she does it so well. She really does.
I love that. The night, I have heard about the night marchers. I used to have a friend from Hawaii in school, and him and I were big in horror movies, and we wanted to be, the next great horror movie aficionados. So we actually tried to do a horror movie on the Night Walk. It was not good. It was not. It'll never. I mean, when you're 12 years old, there's only so much you can do with like a
Right.
$50 budget and mom and dad's home video camera. But we tried. We really did
Right.
try. But it was the legend is so cool. Could you like do you can you share a piece of that legend for the people who may not know?
Oh my gosh. So gosh, it's so fuzzy right now. I
Right.
can't.
It's almost like from the way he explained it to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I had to take his word for it. He explained to me it's almost like where the dead and the living kind of meet, and these night walkers are kind of in between that spiritual realm. But if you get caught or you get within the grasp of a night walker, you yourself can be caught. It's almost like zombies
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
okay,
bit.
yeah, it's coming back to me. So I know they talk about it. We you try not to talk about it. So I just remember my husband and his best friend camping out one night, and they said that they heard these huge footsteps coming at them, and they were going to try to video record it. They were had a tent and they were camping out because they wanted to catch it on film, and so his best friend was like, "I hear them all the time, man. You got to come and we got to catch them." So they camped out one night and they said they heard them, and they said they tried to. Okay, hold on, it's coming back to me. Um, he couldn't wake him up.
Ah.
It was like a nightmare. It was like a nightmare. He couldn't wake him up and he heard it and it was coming, it was coming. And by the time they were done, he woke up and then he was like, dude, I was trying to wake you up. They were, and he was like, what? So that's how it happened. But that's the only thing that I've ever heard is like these footsteps that like run across and they sound like they're just drums like coming
Right.
at you. So
Every culture has those horror stories or those
yeah,
the stories to kind of keep you don't want to listen to me, the night people are coming, they're gonna come for
right.
you. It's always brush your teeth or else they're coming. Everybody has those
Right.
stories, but it's so cool to hear, like, and for her to embrace that side of it, because I mean there is light and there is dark. You
Yes,
have to have light in order to have darkness, and
yes.
the light always triumphs over darkness, but to get the juxtaposition is very cool. So before I let you go, where can everyone follow the journey that is TT while she is on this journey? And also, shout out your daughter's socials as well. I'm going to follow her right after this. So shout out your daughter's socials as well.
Okay, so on Instagram, I'm the Island Girl TT, or you can follow me under Island Girl _ wow. And then also on Facebook, it's the Island Girl TT. So TEETEE. Facebook wouldn't let me just put two T's. And so I'm also on TikTok. I'm on X. And it's pretty much the same, the Island Girl, if you look up the Island Girl TT. And then my daughter's social media is Tsunami.
Perfect. Tsunami everywhere. So guys, check out this mother-daughter duo. All in all, when it's all said and done, what is the one thing you really what's the legacy that you want to leave behind? I mean, I understand your daughter's there as representation of who you are, but as my final question, what is the one thing that you yourself want to leave for pro wrestling?
I just want to leave behind that, I was someone who was just going through life like not knowing what I wanted to do or be, and I was given an opportunity and I ran with it. Any opportunity that you get in this business, don't look at it, because some opportunities people get and they're just like, oh, I only got that, or oh, I got to go do this, but I got to lose. Any opportunity that you're given in this business, you take it and you run with it and you try to make it as special as you can. And don't think that any opportunity is a wasted opportunity because you make it what it's going to be.
I love that. Not only is that advice for wrestling, that's advice for life. Take the opportunities as they come, have no regrets, and just, leave the world, whatever world, better than when you can't leave it great, like you left it before you came in. You know what I mean? Leave it
No
better than when you
regrets.
came in. That's the
Yeah.
worst.
No regrets and no fear.
I love it. I love it. Or I mean, if you're a fan of We're the Millers, no regrets, my
Yeah.
credo.
There you go.
That is by hands down one of my favorite sequences. Yeah, it's my credo. No regrets. Yes, yes. Stupid. I love it. All right, guys, that's it for this one. The Island Girl TT, my dear, thank you so much. And I want to let you know now you are officially a member of Straight Talk Wrestling. So
Oh, thank
anytime you
you.
want to come back on the show, you are more than welcome because you are family. Guys, like I said, check her out first weekend in May here, but also follow her on the socials. And don't forget to check her out on WoW because, like I said, this lady can go. Okay, age is just a number. This lady can go. Peace, love, and wrestling, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Yo, we just people from the north side. Want some Timmy's at the shore fine. Winter ready on the four ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.